Welcome back to the Real Ones Talk podcast. Today I'm with probably the best interviewer of all time and someone who has been a tremendous inspiration to me through my podcasting journey, Zane Lowe. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Good to see you, man.
So how's your day meeting the future of the music industry?
Yeah, beautifully put. It's been awesome. And it has felt like that. You know, it's an amazing place. If we're just going to gas Bandia for a second, the people who put together, run it, and guide the students and nurture the students and the curriculum and everything just feels really dialed in and just very much about where it's going. And we all know that it's constantly going. It's hard to keep up. And I just think that the best approach is to be ready for change rather than try to control it. And I think that this is what this place is really doing. It's nurturing people who are ready for the change.
Yeah. Today we spoke a lot about the changes in the music industry, especially stuff like AI. Do you think the music industry is trending in a positive direction or not really?
It's too early to say. I mean, I have my own opinion about what role AI will play in terms of listening habits and stuff like that. We're already there. The algorithm, it presents itself. It's been presenting itself for a while. It's part of our daily habit. In terms of whether or not I'm going to be interested in the third smash hit album from an AI generated source, it's not really my world.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have a story or narrative, I'm not going to get any feeling out of that. I need to know the music's coming from somewhere. A lot of my curiosity in music is wrapped up in why it was made and where it came from. There's no why or where in AI.
Right.
It's just functional.
Right. It's very frustrating. Honestly, I saw something today that there were 2 Kanye AI songs, and Kanye's obviously done so much for the music industry, and
right.
For that to be them just ripping off his voice on
I don't
songs.
know where we go with that. The only thing I know is for sure is that I know a few managers who aren't going to let that happen for much longer.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got a voice that's recognizable and a brand that's recognizable, it may be cute to put in an AI generator and get that voice to say something that's out of character or out of context. But that's someone's, that's copyright, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's copyright. No question. It's a likeness. So, we'll see where it goes. I mean, I'm not the one who's going to be slamming my fists on the table and, suing people.
Right.
My job is to sort of observe and translate and be a part of this whole experience and be passionate about what I love. I'm as interested as anyone to see where it goes, but if you want my prediction, I think we're about to get into a pretty litigious era.
Yeah.
I really do. I just think that, what's important to an artist's voice and their likeness and their art, it means more than just content. It means more than just, generating something and putting it in front of people. It's someone's life. It's their life's work. So it's cute. It's funny. It's a thing. I don't know where it goes as of right now.
Yeah. Like you were saying, there's a lot more to an artist than just their music, and in a lot of your interviews you really showcase that, and you get very honest and natural answers.
By the way, to qualify, it's cute and funny in music right now, and that's irony, and not cute and funny from a lifestyle point of view. I have no idea where it's going from there.
Yeah, so the way you get these natural and honest answers from pretty much everyone you interview, and I was asking you before, something like Dead Space, for example, you said you feed off of Dead Space. Mm-hmm. That process in working with artists and when you're trying to get these natural and honest answers, when you do get those answers and when you get that Dead Space, what's the difference in your procedure?
It's the same. I really just try to stay in the flow and let it be as natural and human as possible. I wouldn't say I feed off the Dead Space. I don't look forward to it. I'm not afraid of it anymore. If I think it's hanging around in an unwanted way, I'm happy to fill it.
Yeah.
If I think it's there for effect or someone's trying to make a point, or perhaps they're trying to make a point to me, I'm happy to let them make that point with dead air or with words.
Yeah. I'm
there to just kind of try and facilitate someone's message and their stories and what they want to say and about their life, about their music, about their art. The only time I really sort of insert my own opinion or my life into it is if I'm trying to add value to that story or to that idea. I like the idea of a commonplace. I don't like the idea of trading questions and answers. It just doesn't thrill me. What I like is to have a real human conversation with somebody. I don't mind imparting a bit of my life on that. Often it doesn't even make it into the edit. It's fine. I mean, at the end of the day, you just don't know how someone's going to wake up in the morning.
Right.
And I think our job is to try to pivot with that, make it as comfortable for them as possible. Someone gave me a great piece of advice very early on when I started and I was in New Zealand. New Zealand is a destination most artists came to check out. It's the end of the tour, they're exhausted, they didn't want to be there. And when they got there, they realized it was a great place to go to the beach and unwind and finish a tour, right? And then there would be me going, hey, what tour? And I'd had a few bad runs, and he said, bad conversations, and he said, probably the best jump off point for you is to realize that this is the last place they want to be. Mm-hmm. If you can go into every conversation assuming that they don't want to be there, that they'd rather be sitting on a beach right now, just unwinding and getting ready for the show, that at least puts you in a realistic sort of architecture of what's going to happen.
Right.
Work from there. And what he was really teaching me was the early stages of empathy. He was saying, understand, put yourself in their shoes. They're tired, they're jet lagged, they've got a show that night, they'd rather be having a drink or whatever somewhere else and doing something fun. You are promo, you are a job. Understand that. Look at it from their point of view and don't expect anything from them. And that really helped me.
Yeah. And I feel like you really, like everything you just said, you really showcase that in every single episode, and everything you say is really motivating, and you put a very big importance on mental health, and that's something that I feel like is not touched upon enough
well,
in a lot of podcasts. Yeah, me too. And, I think it's very important that the message is spread, that people should touch on that and, not stay quiet. And
I used to stay quiet. I used to be terrified of that conversation, and there was a time at the BBC when someone was like, hey, we're doing documentary ideas, and I said, why don't we do one about OCD? Because I have OCD.
Me too.
And I'd recognized quite a lot of tendencies and traits in other artists that I recognized as being OCD and never really spoke about it. Wondered if I could peel that back and get into it. And normally it took the BBC quite a long time to come back in a radio, audio, music format to really ideate and think about whether to say, yes, they came back really fast and were like, we want to make this.
Yeah.
And I freaked out, and I actually said, I'm not ready to make it. And it was me that pulled out, because I just wasn't ready. I was unsure of my own narrative and what I wanted to say and how much I wanted to reveal.
Right.
And it was only when I started doing therapy again and realized that, not to put them on blast or anything, but other members of my family had been going through similar things. I have to lead by example, right? I can't just be tucked away in my own trauma or my own anxiety. I need to be able to push through. I need to be able to show what's required, and I do believe that openness is an absolute necessity, as and when you can, in a trusted environment, to try to release this fear that we hold on to. And it just made its way into conversations. And artists at that time, I think everyone just kind of came to the same conclusion. It was like something happened and people just wanted to talk about it.
Right.
And I was ready this time.
Yeah. And I saw you did that the Apple Fitness thing, the walk, and that was super inspirational.
You listened to it?
I did.
Thanks, man.
I did, of course. And you were saying that we are blessed with all these cognitive gifts, and it really touched me. And I think that's really important to share that message.
Well, maybe we just don't. I mean, that was really what I was trying to say. Is like, I think we feel like our generation, your generation, and my generation, the generation before me, and and every subsequent generation feels like we've got to have the answers, right? We've got to be the ones that get it. And I just don't think we do, and I don't think we ever will. And I think that we're not really capable, haven't been capable up to a certain point of being able to process and have conversations like this. We're just at the start of it. And I love the idea of exploring more of it, because I think that there's more of it to explore.
Right.
I think the way that we're built and the way that we're wired is to connect. I think we thrive on connection. I think that's why COVID and quarantine and the tragedy and the sadness at that time was so impactful, and we're coming out of that in a really very heavy way, because we lost connection with people at really important moments in life. And so I think our desire is to connect, and I think the only way we can truly connect is by communicating with one another and doing it in a way where judgment is minimized and openness is maximized.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, this was amazing. I really appreciate you coming on. You were super motivating me, not just today, but whenever I listen to your stuff. So I really appreciate you doing this. This was a dream come true.
How long have you been doing this podcast for?
I've been doing it since August.
So less than a year.
Yeah.
Dude, you're fine.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. This was great.
You were great.
Thank you.
So you were great.
Cool. Thank you.